Alright, so I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing here in this building some sail shades. So first of all, you need a really deep hole. The way I'm looking at it, I'm not really too sure. Maybe somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but should have at least 25% of the pole under the ground. Going to have a large amount of concrete because I'm using the tractor backhoe. Really a nice auger would be better to dig these holes, but let's take a look. Yep, another deep hole. Lots of concrete going in there too, because these are going to be 12 feet high. So I'm going to have sail shades going from here, just not covering the whole garage, but 10 by 20 pieces, two of them. So this is like 13 feet or 14 feet wide right here, but I'm going to have one up above, so it kind of gives you some shades parts of the day. So I'm going to have one right here. Actually, I dug the hole in the wrong place, so it'll be a lot more concrete on this one. But it's over 3 feet deep. So, and I'm going to have, like I said, a 12-foot pole in the ground. So they come in 20-foot sections. So to prevent rust, I use some oil-based primer on here. Just primed it with some oil-based. Just while the concrete's drying, I figure it'll help a little bit, so they don't rust out as quick. Probably my lifetime. These are 1/4-inch steel, so they're real thick poles. They come in 20-foot sections. So I had them drop them off on the top of the dump trailer so that I can easily move them, because they were on a ladder rack, came on a truck, and it was easier to slide them off onto here. Then I can just take the forks for the tractor bucket, put them underneath, and kind of tilt it up a little bit and slide one off at a time. And I'm going to take 4 feet off of each one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off now. So I got the cutoff wheel, little Harbor Freight garbage. They work fine. Harbor Freight tools, one of these grinders. Cutoff wheel. You go ahead and cut off 4 feet off of there, so it makes it a little bit lighter move. And like I said, they come in 20-foot sections, so I'm going to have an extra foot. I figure because of the grade and everything, I can always weld another piece on if I needed to, but I'm pretty sure that I'll have a little bit too long, and I'd rather make it a little bit too long than cut a piece off, which still isn't going to be very easy to do up on the, if we could do it on a ladder, or I think I'll use that. Much easier. You guys trying to do this without machines. I mean, I feel for you guys, but it is nice when you have them. Might as well use them. So you could use a 10-foot or 12-foot ladder and probably reach it fine, though. Continuing with the sail shade project, I went ahead and just put some oil-based primer on there to keep the rust from coming right through on the square tubing, and then we just took some remnant pieces of steel here and then just kind of propped it up so it's level, straight. That's the size of the hole I'm going with. It was 3 feet deep. What's that, about 12 inches wide or so, and it's going to go way over there. So I'm going to fill that up with concrete. I don't know if that's the right amount to deep, maybe deeper, but I think it'll be alright for what I'm doing. I'm not going to have a whole lot of tension on here. I mean, if it was commercial, you'd probably go another 2 feet down or something crazy like that. I don't know. But that's 3 feet deep, about 12 inches wide. Same here, about 3 feet deep, 12 inches. I got all this. I'm just going to fill it in with concrete. I'll see. Maybe I can put a piece of wood right here and keep it from going all the way over here, and then bury some of the dirt back. I'm not sure. Probably just do that. Then we on the top, I'm going to paint them once they're up, because I got big ladders, and it's easier than scratching them and everything else. We welded on these things. They're just the regular D-rings or eye hooks, and if you ever tried drilling through something 1/4 inch thick, it takes a long time to drill through, so we just decided it'd be easier just to weld them on really good. Put a lot of weld on there, really heavy, high heat, turned it up all the way. Alright, so I'm mixing up the concrete by the wheelbarrow. A little bit of dirt fell in there, it ain't a real big deal. Guys used to say use dirt donuts, you know, I'm not gonna do that, but get it all in there. I'm gonna fill it all in with concrete, mixing it up by hand. It's always cheaper to buy the C-mix and just add the, you know, what I do is I put 5 shovels of C-mix in, 1 shovel of Portland, and then that, you know, you could even use plastic. You use almost any kind of cement, as long as it's cement, it'll work. Is it going to be a specific PSI and all that stuff? No. You know, it's mainly just to get hard. That's mainly all I'm looking at. It's not being a certain amount of strength. We're not looking for that on this particular project. So 5 shovels of C-mix and 1 of cement usually does the job. In fact, I've made slabs that way. Alright, so I got all the concrete poured in here for the shade sails. Here, look at that one. Tried not to do this during the heat of the day. I poured a little bit of water in there, but it's all concreted in. Let's take a look at this other one. All 3 of them, they're all braced and level. Alright, so that's the other one. Like I said, I just hosed off the concrete they got on the driveway, so it's kind of wet on top, but everything down beneath is mixed pretty good. Alright, so that's it. We got all those all in the ground now. Got my poles painted in the ground, got some dirt around them. Starting to put the cables up right now. Stuff just came in the mail for these. Came in Amazon actually. So there's the poles. Got the cable, Harbor Freight cable. 2,200 pound cable. That should hold high winds or whatever. I don't know if this stuff's gonna hold up, but that I will find out. I'm pretty sure it will, because I have some of this stuff on my gates and we've had 60-mile-an-hour winds, and this is going to be horizontal versus vertical. And horizontal, the winds go horizontal more than they do vertical, so it should hold. But you know, they guarantee them for 3 years, so we'll see. There's my shade cloth. I'm going to put this stuff up, take a look at it. Unfortunately, it doesn't swivel. Oh, that will help. There we go. Looks like you guys are in the video.
Okay, so this guy, during the month of May, for free, will come to a single mom's house, and according to the newscaster, ladies need a lot of help. I don't agree with that. And he'll do your chore for free. What a nice guy in this town. This is clearly a feel-good story. Smiling, forget about upset, what's going on in the world. But as you know, and as you've said before, people get offended by anything. So you let us know why you were offended by this offensive news. Strike around the story. I'm not offended.
Alright, so I just got these things temporarily up here. I got two. I'm going to get two more, and I'm going to put one here and one over there. One of the things you're going to find out, it's best, see, I don't have any way to anchor down all four corners, and especially in the middle section where I have these. So if you don't have all four corners anchored and then pulled evenly on all four, you know, here, 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 and here, then it's going to have some wrinkles in it. But I'm going to go ahead and put one more cable running from here straight over there, and then I'm going to pull this one outward to that cable. So I'm hoping that that's going to tighten it up a little bit more. Plus, I'm not done. Again, just kind of got these things up temporarily, so I have some shade for now. And I'm going to show you guys one more thing here. When you cut your cable, what you want to do, if you're using any cable like this, I mean, if you're just doing a small cell shade project, you could not use metal cable, probably just use rope or something. But if you're using metal cable, what you do is you wrap it with electrical tape before you cut it, and then cut through the electrical tape so that it doesn't fray. And then what I do is right here I have my torch, and I use shrink tube for soldering. Let me show you what that is. Anyway, I'm not able to find that right now. I'm not sure where it is. But you slide the shrink tube over here. It's basically, you get it at Harbor Freight Tools or wherever, and you can, it just slides over, and then you heat it up with a torch or with a cigarette lighter, and then it shrinks onto here, and then you'll keep your cables from fraying. Alright, so that's just one way to do it. And of course, there's a lot of ways to do that. You can actually just hit the end with a welder or whatever you want to. Alright, so I got a little more to do here. I gotta put that corner up. I started out one way and ended up doing it different. I mean, if I started over again, I probably would have just gotten one big sail to cover the whole area, one from each end of the pole. Because what I found out is you really need everything to pull right on each corner to keep them straight, keep them tight. So hopefully I can straighten this out a little bit by putting another one over there, and see how they've got these ones tied off to this cable. This is all 2,400 pound cable, so it should be strong enough for a windstorm. But you never know. I mean, I don't know if it'd hold up to like hurricane style winds. Pretty sure it wouldn't. But you know, I'm hoping it'll do a 60-mile-an-hour gust or so, but we'll find out. So we're in a little bit of a windstorm here, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys this here, since got like a 35-mile-an-hour, 25-mile-an-hour winds, maybe a little bit of, maybe a gust up to 35. Of course, it's holding up great, but you know, I don't know how it's going to do when we hit 60. These are 2,400 pound cables, so they should hold quite a bit. Will they hold 60-mile-an-hour winds? I don't know how much stress there's actually going to be on them. But I will recommend that if you're doing a shade sail project, that if I had, you know, initially I put these up to shade, in the heat of the day, shade this area right here. So I didn't really want to put a triangular shaped shade sail in, and I couldn't put a post over there. So I was I actually just put one here because I was going to run them up to the end of the building, and I wanted to just basically cover this area. Then I decided, well, I'd like to cover this area and then have one in front of the garage. So this area I wanted to be kind of covered in the heat of the day, and it's not the heat of the day right now, it's in the afternoon. So, and then I thought, well, it'd be nice to have just in front of the garage shaded too. In the summer, the sun doesn't shade from the garage over. In the winter, I get enough shade from here over that it's almost too cold. And so I wanted to put, you know, something to shade out in front here. And so I couldn't put a post here because there's an electrical underneath the ground right here. So going this direction. So that wouldn't work out. I couldn't put it where the building is. So I had to put it on the other side of the building. So initially, like I said, I was just planning on putting up 2 shades, and then actually added the other 2 as I started thinking a little more. As I put these up, I saw how much shade there was, and I was like, well, it'd be nice to have a little bit more shade. So I still want to put one more cable here, so it's a little bit looser than it's supposed to be. I'm going to have one more cable that's running from this eye over to that peak, and then I'm going to pull this one this direction. But right now the store is actually out of some of the things I need to do that. So I ran all the stores out of these little things to get the little stainless steel clamps. So I'll have to wait till they get it back in a couple weeks. But that will kind of take down some of that loop there. Like I said, I would recommend, if you're going to do this, have something at each point. So if you're going to put up one of these 10 by 20s, have, you know, a post right here and one right here, and then one in that corner and one in that corner, maybe a foot away from the D-rings. And then you can pull it tight and it'll have that nice tight shade style look. This is actually okay for what I'm doing. I'm hoping it's going to be just a little bit tighter than it is. And I am getting a lot of cable stretch from, if you notice, this was pretty tight, and you can see how much movement there is there. So hopefully, like I said, I'm not sure. I mean, 2,400 pounds, I'd be surprised if a gust of wind made that much, but it's possible. Yeah, so anyway, oh, I think this one here actually, the clamp slid. No, maybe it didn't. Anyway, we'll just have to wait and see. But it actually comes down really easy, and I wanted it up high to be able to drive a big truck through here, and I wanted it to be temporary because of that reason too, because I have tall trucks that I can bring through here sometimes. You know, right now it's at over 10'6" right now, except when the wind's blowing it down, then it goes a little below that. But well, like I said, it's not quite as tight as it's going to be yet. But what I was going to say is, if you were going to do this, if I was going to go back hindsight, after trying to figure this out and then figuring out where my poles were, and if I could afford it, I don't know how much it would cost, but I would get one big giant sail from there to this corner to that corner. The reason why I didn't do that, because it would actually clear the roof. Okay, if you see right here, it would actually clear the roof. I could clear it, go over the roof, and go to this corner. Again, the reason I didn't do that is I wanted a lot more shade right here. So, and that would be really skinny as it went over here. It would be really skinny along here, and then it would get wider, and it would have worked, I suppose, now that I look at it while everything's up. But before you go to put it up, it's really hard to know how it's going to work until you actually get it up. So, but if you're just doing like a small project where you're putting up, you know, 4 posts or something like that, definitely put them exactly where, you know, so if you get over a 20 foot by 10 foot, put them exactly, you know, put about 22 feet apart, about a foot on each end, each area, and then say, instead of 10 feet, go to like 11 feet over, and then do 22 feet, 22 feet over from there. So you have like a foot of clearance before every D-ring. That'll work out pretty good, and you'll have it nice and tight. But the way that I had this, if you see, you know, going across this driveway right here, you know, it would either take one giant large shade sail, which would, I mean, it probably cost me over $1,000 just for the sale alone, and that might be what I'm going to end up doing. But this will work for now. It's just going to get tightened up a little bit more. Like I said, once I have more supplies. They just didn't have enough stuff for me to do my last run. I want to run from there over and then pull that direction, which will tighten this whole area up. So I won't be able to do that until after I get more supplies. But anyway, that's it for the shade sail project. It's just something to think about. It's just another way to shade your area. And like I said, that's a good 30-mile-an-hour wind right now blowing through here, and it's, you know, it's not really bothering it too much. You know, it's actually when the wind kind of has something where they go up and down, and that makes a little bit more. But you know, wind blows typically across, and then it can create some sort of a, you know, what's that called when it goes up and down? You know, it can create a little bit of that, but that's not where the wind is blowing, so it's not going to put that much force at it, I don't think. But again, I'll find out. Stay posted and stay subscribed. And if I have a different situation later, I'll be sure to post that. And again, these are 1/4-inch steel posts, and they're set into the ground almost 30%, 25 to 30% in the ground, so that with a lot of concrete, so that you know, not just your regular post hole digger. You know, you got to dig, you know, a 12 to 24-inch square hole. Mine were about 16 inches square that I dug for that. So anyway, that's how deep, and it was about 3 feet, 3'6", something like that down. You know, that's kind of minimum. So anyway, the posts were really expensive, and they were $240 each, or $260 a piece. So that was kind of expensive. The cable wasn't much. The shade sails were very cheap. But again, like I said, I might end up eventually just getting really high-end cable and then just running a big triangle shaped one when these ones actually start to fail, which they're guaranteed for 3 years, but I don't know if they're gonna last that long. I'd be surprised if they do. All right, so anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. A lot of stuff came from Amazon, some from Harbor Freight Tools, and some stuff from trying to think, a few things from the hardware store, you know, from Home Depot or whatever. I try and stay away from there because they're a lot of prices for a lot more than those other places. Like the turnbuckles I got online, stainless steel ones, versus going to Home Depot and getting ones that were just, you know, regular, I don't know what that's called. It's not even galvanized. It's something else. Anyway, I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.